Oscar, thanks for joining me, mate.
Inconveniently timed sip. Thanks for having me.
No, of course, mate. It's been a long time coming.
It has, yeah.
You're one of the first people I asked.
I'm sometimes hard to lock down, mate, but here we are. I knew we'd get there.
Of course. No, I've been doing the homework for years now. Well, not years, but I think whenever I ask you mid-2024, I've been taking notes since then. So you've made my job easier.
Give you plenty of time, mate. Yeah, I know you said you like to prep.
100%.
Thought 18 months is a perfect lead time.
On December 27th, 2016, on Instagram, you wrote, "This year went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick." What would the man that sits in front of me today say as the end of 2025 comes?
Jesus, mate. That is, what a way to open. Yeah, I would say that the change in my life over that year wouldn't compare to 3 months of my life at the moment with how things are changing so quickly.
How so?
I mean, in every dynamic, really. Like, business is one element of it, and like I look back 12 months ago to where I am now. I'm like, I just can't comprehend how things are moving so quickly for me and my businesses and the people involved with them. And I wouldn't even try and anticipate where things are going to be in, 8 years from now, looking back, 8 years ago. Family, things change. Like, I've got a son now. I've got another son on the way due in April. So like the family dynamic has changed drastically in the last 12 months, from going from having a 6-month-old to now an 18-month-old. They're very different little blobs compared to, the earlier stages. To have another one added to the mix in 12 months time from now. Life moves very quickly. I mean, particularly at the moment.
Do you miss those days in 2016?
I miss elements of it. Yeah. I think life has got progressively less simple, and that's something that I miss. Like, there's nothing in my life that I would actively change, and if there were, I'd be focused on it and actively changing it. But sometimes, like, I miss the simple things. Like that moment, like, of that caption, I think I was driving a car back from Sydney. I flew up to Sydney with a mate, bought a car, and we're driving it back down, had nowhere to be, wasn't in a hurry. Was probably definitely speeding, but not to get to point B very quickly. I was just having the time of my life. Like, to do that now, to take, a day, just go buy a car and drive it home with a mate. Like, that's the simple things in life, probably the things that I probably would look back and be like, a few more of those would be handy.
I remember you said, if you told me 5 years ago where I'd be today, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But if I told you today where I'm going to be in 5 years, you probably wouldn't believe me either.
Yeah.
That's what you said before about your life moving so quickly.
Yeah.
But you said that in 2017.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that was before ChatGPT, huh?
Yeah, and I was looking at all those things. It's funny because I do a lot of homework on some of the guests that I've had recently have done really big reflective posts on Instagram. And I'll look at them now and I'm like, I know for a fact that he wrote that.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was, before
The technology wasn't there. Yeah.
How important of a focus did you put on, because it seems like to me that you were really into mindset in the early days.
Yeah, I was. And I did a lot of work on it myself. I had like coaches that I sought out and paid to train or advise me around mindset. It was something that I just knew could be a big determining factor the bigger the game got for me. If you're earning 60K a year driving Uber, and mindset is like everything in every aspect of life. But commercially for me, I knew there would be massive upside as things got bigger and more financially lucrative. The difference between a good day and a bad day financially when you earn $500 a day or $1,000 a day isn't here or there. But if you're in a big business that's turning over, millions of dollars a month, the difference between a good day and a bad day in the headspace can be financially lucrative. And then non-financially, of course, like, I think life is more easily navigated with a grounded head on your shoulders. And that's something that I've worked towards, over the last decade.
How much of that mindset was or how much of an importance did you place on emphasizing that things were going to work out? Because it seemed what you said before about, you said something that when things get bigger, like you knew things were going to get bigger.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know when.
Yeah.
And that was like we talked about off camera, when an ex-girlfriend turned to me driving a car one day when I must have been 18 or 19 years old, and she said, what if it doesn't work out? What if you don't end up rich? Because I'd talked about like coming up through high school, I'm going to be in business and I'm going to be a businessman and things are going to be lavish and all this sort of stuff. And I was sacrificing so much. And she was like, what if it's all for nothing? And in my mind, I was like, I couldn't understand the question in the moment. And for me, it hasn't been if it will happen. It's just a matter of time. And I mean, that's the beauty of the game that I'm playing, which is business, is it's very progressive and it doesn't have to be overnight for me and it doesn't have to be a particular benchmark for me. If I'm progressing, then I'm satisfied. And the last 10 years has been a lot of progression for me. The last 12 months has been a lot. And I know there's a lot more to come. Will it be linear? Unlikely. Will it happen overnight? Absolutely not. But without a doubt, it'll happen.
Was there a point that it all got too much, or you thought it would be too much in the early days?
Yeah, absolutely. Still now.
Really?
Yeah. Every now and again, I come home it's usually after a few nights lack of sleep and a couple of things haven't gone my way, and I just get all, in my head and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing this for? I could retire tomorrow and live happily ever after, go move somewhere warm, surf every morning, spend every day with my wife and kid, like, fuck it, and then I have a good night's sleep and I'm like, I want so much more purpose and drive and to have so much more impact in my life. I pick my shit back up and get on with the job.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I'm like, because I'm assuming the difference between, I know for a fact the difference between you back then and now is back then there was no option to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas now.
Yeah, you're right. Like back then you have, I mean, to some degree, like we're very fortunate in Australia because I've had this discussion with a friend of mine and he said, I look at you and I'm like, why do you still work so hard? And he said for him, he's in the trade, he's on the tools, like he's working so hard to set himself up for financial security and that sort of thing. He's like, what if I was in your position, there's no way I would be working, 60, 70, 80 hours a week and sacrificing time with my family, et cetera. And I'm like, it's an interesting way to look at it because I can look at, I've got friends in my circle that, they've got planes and literally hundreds of cars and properties worth 30, 40, 50 million dollars and they've got dozens of them. And I could look at them and be like, why are they working so hard? But retrospectively for him, in Australia, we're so nurtured by our system that, he doesn't have to get up and work to earn his $200,000 a year. He could rely on, a lesser wage. He could sleep in. He could rely on Centrelink or something like that. And so I think to some degree, everybody in Australia could rest on the circumstances they're in. It's just about wanting more. And back then, wanting more looked like, not having to pick the cheap steak or, wanting to eat out for breakfast but being like, no, I better not, or I'll bring my coffees from home or whatever it might be. Wanting more back then was like a little bit more luxury. Wanting more now is, setting up future generations, not buying cars, buying planes or, not buying houses, buying buildings. So I think it's just levels to it.
Is that why you want more now?
There's a few different reasons. Like generational financial security is something that like I think would be really cool.
Do you think you have that already?
To some degree, yeah, definitely to some degree. But again, there's levels to it. Like, knowing that if my kids, if I don't fuck things up over the next 30, 40 years, they won't have to worry about ever having financial stress. But there's so many different levels to financial security. Like there's the base and the fundamentals and shelter and all that sort of stuff. And then there's, there's the shit that you hear about that you're not sure if is real, about having Australian hospitals pick you up from anywhere in the world and bring you through underground tunnels under Melbourne and pop up inside, terminals of the hospital, the emergency wing, and like the shit that you only the top 0.1% understand. It's like, what do you want to pass down? And so I don't think I have that much yet, but it's something that I'm sort of a little bit driven towards.
You talk about levels. Has that been something that you've noticed over the journey? Is just the constant, I guess, progression? I think I remember you saying in another podcast, not a podcast, sorry, a post. It was the video where you would drive. There was a black car driving away, and you said, "I can't believe our life, like what we're getting exposed to, the people that we're meeting."
Oh yeah,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I flew in from the Gold Coast. I'd been at the Gold Coast with one of my boys. We both flew down, went for a suit fitting for a mate's upcoming wedding, hopped in one of the boys' Rolls Royce, raced another one of the boys' GT3 RSs, like as we were like sitting in the back laughing like schoolgirls, going for lunch somewhere. And I was like, fuck, like this is just another Saturday. But every now and again, you got to stop and have a think and being like, if you said to me 10 years ago, you're going to jump in a Rolls Royce, go and buy, spend big dollars on suits, race through the city, spend $5,000 on a late lunch, and that's just another Saturday. It's like every now and again, you got to stop and smell the roses, I think.
Is that something you would have done differently in the early days?
As in not reflecting?
I remember you saying in the early days you didn't, you regret that you didn't enjoy it as much when you're in the thick of it.
Regret's a strong word,
Yeah,
but it's definitely, like I had these conversations with sometimes my team members that might be of a similar age, and they're like, they might have regret for the times that they partied or traveled or did what they did when I was locked in before that was a term, working 100, 110 hours a week, not seeing anybody, friends, family, losing relationships to level myself up. And now I can take my foot off the gas a little bit, have rest breaks here and enjoy, some of the fruits of my labor. I've had conversations with my team where they have regret, for lack of a better word, and I might have the inverse regret where I'm like, you at 19 years old backpacked around Europe for 3 months when I was pouring concrete and, losing relationships. You got married at 22 and started a family, and I'm like, something I wanted when I was younger was like, I'm destined to be a dad. I really wanted to have kids. My older brother, he was 17 when he had his first. By the time I was 25, all my siblings, having babies. And I was like, fuck, I really want that. But now's not the time for me. Those sacrifices for me, I'm like, you can have everything, but you can't have it all at once. And that's sort of what I've come to settle with in life is like, you can travel, you can build a business, you can raise a family, you can enjoy yourself and party with your friends and stuff like that. You just can't do it all at once. And the difficulty is in navigating when do you do what and to what extent do you do it.
Now that I've just hit 30, I've had that.
You're a baby, mate.
Yeah, well, I've still had the realization of like, how didn't I find this thing earlier? Because I'm like, I sort of feel like I'm behind a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
You got to watch some Gary Vee shit.
I probably do. But I say that because I find comfort in looking at someone like you, that you've been hustling and doing what you've been doing for like over 10 years. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm 30. 3 of my 4 best mates are engaged and either have a kid or a kid on the way. And I'm going through that season right now where it's like, it's just not the time for me right now. So like I get to, well, how long is it going to take? Is it gonna take 5 years or?
I like the word season, and my wife talks about that a lot. She's like, you have different seasons of life. And there's also, if you compare us at a financial success level, you might feel like you're a bit behind me. But if you compare the relationships that you have with your extended family members and the relationships that I have with mine, you might look at me like I've got a lot of work to do, or you're the friendships you built out of school that I never really developed because I was head in the ground trying to do what I do. Like anybody can pick, cherry pick little different elements of life and we can get caught up in comparison. But, mate, I know I can't cook a steak like you. And there's a lot of things that I think you'll have accomplished in your life that I haven't had, whether it's the opportunity or taken the time to do yet, that I would be very envious if we sat down. I was like, after this, you're going kick the footy with your mates. Like I haven't kicked the footy since I was 14 years old. And I'd like, fuck, I'd love to just write off my next 3 meetings and come kick the footy. But in this season of my life, it's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm like, I'm working, I'm trying to provide, I'm trying to have a big impact in what I'm doing. And when I'm not doing that, I'm with my wife, my kid, and a handful of best mates that I really consider family. It's just different seasons.
Yeah, it's funny, like I have that feeling, but at the same time, if you look back on everything that's happened, there's so many things that happened that led up to this.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't, I have that feeling, but at the same time, I sit back and I say, if I hadn't lived my life the way that I did, I wouldn't have ever found this anyway.
Yeah, and you could look at it like if you weren't living your life as you are now, you might not find what you find in 3 or 5 years' time from now. Like now isn't the point. Now is just now. So, you know, you might transition from this to something else, or in 10 years' time, you might leverage your platform and go into something completely different, and you'd be like, you know, fuck, thank God I started sharing reels about steaks when I was, you know, late 20s.
So true. I remember you said something that resonated with me. You said, people assumed I was depressed. I wasn't depressed. I was obsessed.
Yeah. That cost me a relationship, my obsession. Yeah. Yeah. But like you said, you know, everything plays its role, and whether things happen for a reason or things happen because of reasons or whatever it is. But there's a good, I reckon, 3 years of my life there where I was too focused in probably society's perspective, or in the eyes of society.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. And like, again, I don't regret anything. It cost me some relationships. It probably cost me a little bit of my health. Like I think there was some, I wouldn't say irreversible, but there was some sort of long-term health impacts to, you know, sleeping 3 or 4 hours a week and working 110, you know, hours a week. 3 or 4 hours a night and working 110 hours a week. Like
I was going to say.
Yeah. It took it took its toll. Yeah. But again, like I'm really satisfied with where my life is now from an overarching point of view. Like my family, my friendship circle, commercially I've done reasonably well. So like I wouldn't change anything.
I remember you said, on the topic of reasonably well, you said, when you grow, what did you say? Slowly. Yeah, when people tell me you're killing it, my favorite thing is to say slowly. They often assume I'm being modest, but really I'm reminding myself that the most certain path to where I want to be is through steady, moderate, incremental gains with minimal losses along the way. Compound your gains, my friends.
Yeah, that's my words, but the message of a mentor of mine who he always says to me, slowly. And there's a saying from, might even be the 50s, slowly catch your monkey, which is the quickest way to catch a monkey is, you know, slow, incremental creeping up on it. And it's a metaphor for, I think for life in general, but really for best business practice. And it's like rule number 1 of investing is don't lose money. So just...
What's rule number 2?
Never forget rule number 1. Yeah.
I remember I screenshotted that.
Yeah.
I've been screenshotting stuff for ages, man. You mentioned comparison before. Do you think it's important? So I heard someone say the other day, I don't know if you heard of Frank Grief.
Yeah, and Kinzo. Yeah. Shout out to Kinzo, the Outlet building. Yeah. I think they launched this week or something. Yeah.
And Hormones, you shared it last week.
Yeah.
But, they basically said, I think it's important to compare. Do you resonate with that at all?
Yeah, for like, I'm very competitive by nature, and like I really deep down compete mostly with myself, but I'll leverage shallower competition to drive myself to be better. So for me, progression above everything else. Like forget first, last. I'm like doing more tomorrow than I did today, being better next year than I was this year is what really drives me. But at a more, not superficial level, but at a more practical level, sometimes easier and more direct to compare ourselves with those around us. And it's not fair and it's not reasonable for me to compare my steak cooking abilities with you. But it's a very motivational way for me to be like, fuck, he just whipped these 2 steaks up, medium rare, perfect. Look how thick this one is compared to that one. Like, I need to get my shit in order. And I don't logically dwell on, you're the steak lad and I spend $3,000 a month on Uber Eats. Like, we should consider that. It's like, it's a very direct way to me, like, lift my game. And I think you can do that in all elements of life.
And you said something. Yeah, the comparison thing. I think it's important because, I mean, at the point that I'm at, I see the comparison game as important because it drives you to get better. Yeah. I think the thing that weighs me down at the moment is that I've moved past the point where I compare myself to people that are just starting out. Because when I was starting out, I was like, oh, well, it's just a little thing.
Yeah.
And now I can't help but compare myself to anyone who's somewhat mediocre. So I've moved to the top.
Have you heard the 3/3 analogy of comparison?
No.
It's like you should spend your time with three groups of people. So you should spend your time with 3 groups of people, whether that's the content you ingest, the people that you eat with, the people that you kick the footy with. There's 3 different types and you need to spend equal time with 3 of them. So you should spend 33% of your time with the people that are beneath you. Not in a derogatory fashion, but if you're really aspiring to do well in business, you got to spend 33% of your time with the people that have smaller businesses with you, 33% of the time with people that are on the same level of you as you, and then the other third of the time with people that are doing better than you. And the people that are doing better than you, they drive you to want to do better. When you're doing $1 million a month and they're doing 5, you're like, shit, I need to be going harder. But they take their toll on your soul. Like when you're continually surrounding yourself with people that are doing better, damages your ego, you start to feel a bit flat, your self-worth struggles. So then you need the third of people that are on the same level as you. And they're the people that you will bond most with and you'll feel like you're getting along with them because you've got similar problems and you're winning at the same level and you really vibe with them. And then the last third, the third that aren't doing as well as you, they're the people that you can help up. You can give them some direction. That's really good for your ego because you feel like you're the man in the room and you can provide value to them and you can help them out. And it's a balance of these 3 different types of people. So the analogy goes that gives you that homeostasis level of having the aspiration, also having the self-worth support and connecting with the people in the middle.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
You're full of them, mate. On the topic of hanging around people, how do you think having 4 siblings, did that shape the competitive nature in you, I guess?
Mate, I hate sharing and I can't get through it. And my wife hates it. I think that's because, the 4th of 5 kids in a family, everything was shared, whether it was hand-me-down clothes or toys or TV time or whatever it was. But I would absolutely say that it drove some competitive nature. Just having older siblings around you and just having that many people around you just was easy to be competitive. There was always somebody to race around the backyard, to play footy with, to be faster on a motorbike or jump higher on a trampoline or whatever. So, yeah, from a young age, I think I was pretty competitive.
I remember you saying it started at 12 with the lemonade stand.
Yeah. Yep. Little coastal town where I grew up had a lemonade stand.
Did you know you were destined for more at that age, do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think I would view it as destined for more. Like it was just
who you were.
I just wanted to do business. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed it. And like I didn't see it as destined for more then. To be honest, back then I thought like I was surfing competitively and like destined for more would be if I was on the front cover of ASL magazine or whatever the surf magazine was back then. I'm like, those guys are the guys that made it, not the guys that are worth 100 million. Like it was different priorities, but I just really enjoyed making money from that young age. Yeah.
I did boxing as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had like 6 or 7 amateur fights.
Wow.
But that's what started this.
Yeah.
It's because I did the weight cuts.
Yeah.
Messed with my ability to enjoy food.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I developed develop like an eating disorder.
Yeah. It's pretty common. I mean,
yeah.
probably more so in bodybuilding than boxing. But mate, I got a lot of respect for anybody. I didn't know that about you. Anybody who's stepped in the ring, it takes a certain type of person to be able to do that, I think.
Oh mate, it was I was actually starting to be a paramedic.
Oh wow.
I did 2 years of a paramedic degree, and to the absolute dismay of my parents, took a year off to do fighting. And in that year, I was having a conversation with my best mate's sister, telling her that I needed another job. And do you know Brett Griffiths from Colliers? He runs the whole Resi team.
Yeah, I don't know him.
Well, she babysat his kids.
Oh, okay.
So I ended up getting a job with him. And then that's how I got into real estate.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
Yeah. You don't wear a suit to work, you wear a hoodie.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's my hoodie as well.
Yeah, how good.
You said a valuable lesson I learned early on was to move between ambition and gratitude. Why do you say that?
Because it's very hard to feel both in the same moment. And if you spend too much time in either, I think if you spend too much time in ambition, then you lose your soul. You become...
Why?
Because you're just always chasing the next thing. Yeah. And like, I can see that this might resonate with you because you're in this part of your journey where you want more, and like, you bang out a sick video and it goes awesome, but you're straight onto how can I be better? What do I do next? And you don't take that time to sit and be like, mate, I don't know, 100,000 people watch this video. Like, I just filled the MCG with people that are hanging around for 10, 20, 30 minutes watching my content. You're not focused on that. You're not really, I guess, experiencing the reward for your effort. You're just straight on to the next thing. So you can't always sit in ambition. If you're just continually in gratitude, you end up like a monk. You don't achieve anything. You don't have any impact on the world. You're just sitting around being like, how good is life? So I think both are important, and I've never heard of anybody that can sit in both at once. So for me, it's like you got to move from one to the other, and you can do that with focus and, mindset practice and stuff like that. But I think it takes some attention.
Do you think about that sort of stuff at the moment?
At the moment, as in the last week or two, nah, life's so busy, but I sort of come in and out of it. Yeah. And I'll come in and out of my attention to personal development over commercial development or health development. Like, I'll just move through different chapters of my life. Like right now, I'm really focused on health. I'm trying to sleep more. I'm eating a ridiculous amount of supplements. This is my first energy drink in about 3 or 4 months.
Don't scull that one. This one, I meant that one.
Yeah. I'm not drinking a lot, considering I'm the CEO of an alcohol business.
Yeah.
So I'm focused on health, and then time will come where I'm less focused on health because I'm giving a real hard commercial push. I'm not sleeping enough. I'm probably a little bit too stressed. Eating at my desk or whatever it might be, and I'll push in that regard. But I just move in and out of those seasons. So right now, probably less focused on gratitude and more focused on health and my commercial endeavors. But next Saturday, I'll fly out to Europe to do a white Christmas and have a look around Morocco and spend 3.5 weeks with my wife and my son, soaking up some rewards of a big year. And I'll be pretty much sitting in gratitude that entire time. So
yeah, you just stole a question from me. Would you find the gratitude comes from when you actually take a step back?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I do feel it in random moments too. Like every now and again, something will really challenge me at work, and I'll be like, "Fuck this! This is a shit day." And then I think about crawling out of bed at 3:45 in the Melbourne winter, unlocking a yard, doing 2 hours of accounts works before going and pouring concrete for 10 hours, and then coming home and, doing some study or something. I'm like, a bad day now is what a fantastic day would have been 10 years ago. And every now and again, I'm just like, fuck, this isn't too bad. So
I remember you said next time you're feeling like you can't, take a little time to reflect on what you already have. You might just find that the challenges you're facing aren't a great deal, more testing than the ones you've previously overcome. I'm shakably confident that I will make this week my bitch.
Shit, man.
That's
Fuck.
what you
I
said.
really got to go back and read some of that stuff.
Yeah. I've written down heaps.
Yeah.
But I remembered that one. And that's exactly what you said before.
Yeah.
It's like, I asked Danielle the question. She was the last podcast, actually. And I asked, do you think the previous version of yourself would be able to deal with what you're going through right now? And she said no.
No way. That's progression, right?
Yeah.
But I think like that post, it's really handy to, I won't speak for you, but many of us have those moments sometimes where we're like, I just can't. And it's like, you can because you have. And sometimes that reflection of looking back being like, the obstacle that you're facing is only because you've got yourself to the circumstances where you're deserving of that obstacle. Like, some people sitting at home right now, if somebody dropped an unexpected bill of $700,000 on their desk, they couldn't handle that, but they're not in a position that they would be expected to handle that. So it's like sometimes, or you might be dealing with something online that, like, if it came to me, I'd be like, I can't fucking handle this attention or this heat or whatever it would be because I haven't built myself to be in a position where I could handle that. So it's sort of like you're dealt the problems that you can handle just by virtue of circumstance.
I think the problem that I'm having now is like I've had the success. It's like, how do you level up?
Yeah.
But I think I've found assurance, like I said before, in the fact that this thing takes time.
Yeah. It's reps, mate.
Yeah.
It's reps. And everybody says it. It's just hard to accept.
Yeah.
It's like, I want that next big push. And it's like,
Yeah.
just do what you're doing now. Just do it at 5 times effort for 90 days and have a look. You might have made some incremental success. You might not. Do another 90-day push and have another look at it.
Yeah. I saw Stephen Bartlett yesterday. He wrote on his story, I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Seriously. And that's what I said, I find comfort in seeing people like yourself and him that still want more. And I just can't fathom a world in which he wants more,
Yeah.
you know. And I also find comfort. This is why I like doing what I do with my podcast is I try and find comparisons to people in their early days that might resonate with people that are going through something at the moment.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Stephen the other day and I'm like, he can't have always been this good. He cannot have been this good. So I went back to episode 1, took me ages to scroll down, and I looked back and I listened and I'm like, he was like me.
Yeah, of course he was. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I'm assuming there's a lot of people that look at you and people like him and like, how does that even happen? Like, I'm so far away from that. And then you take a step back and you're like, oh, it's just the reps.
Yeah, it is. But I think the sooner you can understand that, the better position you'll be to navigate your own ambition, right? Because, like, everybody, there's a saying that goes something along the lines that everybody puts their jeans on 1 foot at a time when they hop out of bed in the morning. And it's like, we all start the same, mate. Like, we're all just, you know, some of us are a little bit taller, a little bit better looking, or run a bit faster or whatever. Some of us a bit sharper than others, maybe, but everybody starts stuttering on camera. Everybody starts learning how to balance a journal ledger if they're going into business or whatever it is. And it's like, once you can accept that, I think it's easier to grasp how guys are flying around in jets and, you know, raising $1 billion off a few text messages and doing that sort of thing, because it's just time in the game, maybe focus and a little bit of luck.
Is there anything that you've done or seen that has made you a bit more comfortable on the path you're on, if that makes sense?
I just trust, mate. Like, I'm a big believer that you're in the exact position you're in because of the choices that you made, plus or minus maybe 10%. Like, you have a few things go your way, then you may be 10% better off than where you could have. If you've had a few things get in your way, then maybe you're not as far as you could be within 10%. But I'm a big believer that you are exactly where you are because of the decisions that you've made, because of the chances that you take, the effort that you've put in. And then having accepted that, there's nothing else that you, like, you can't blame circumstances. You can't, beat yourself up. It's just like you've got what you've got. You've got the tools that you've got. Put the effort in and you continue to go where you want to go.
Is there a story or a memory that comes up that describes or gives me an insight into the effort in the early days? And I'm assuming that effort, it's almost like a similar, like it's just been constant effort.
Yeah, I mean, the days really blur into one, like I imagine they do every now and again for you at the moment. But there was one day where I started work at about 1:45 and I opened up the yard, hopped in a truck with an excavator float on the back of it, and I had to drive it. I think it might have been to Mildura, to get to Mildura by 6 a.m. To have some repairs done on the trailer. And I was driving over, I can't remember if it's the Black Spur, if I went over that way or whatever it was, but I'd been working more than 100-hour weeks every 7 days a week, 100 hours for months and months and months. And I was driving down the other side of this mountain and I was pulling over on the side of the road, climbing up into the tray of the truck, banging out 30, 40 push-ups to try and stay awake. And I was hopping back into the truck, driving, getting another 5 minutes down the mountain and hopping back in the truck and doing push-ups again. And in that moment, I was like, fuck, this is probably a limit. Like, because I started to question safety and I'm like, I'm going to drive off the fucking road or crash into there was no one else on the road at 4 a.m. coming over the mountain. But, and then I got to wherever I was going, went into the guy that was fixing the trailer, let me his car, went into town, set up at a cafe, worked on my laptop for, the best part of 10 hours, drove back, grabbed the truck and then drove, 5.5 hours back to Melbourne, finished up at about 11, went home, showered, hopped in bed, got up at 4:45 and started the day again. And I was like, that was my life for the most part. There was 3 years where I really, I was working 7 days a week.
What were you telling yourself during that time?
To be honest, I was telling myself the experience was the asset. And that was something that I only reflected upon recently, was like, I don't think until I was 30, 31, where I started to focus on making commercial gain, I was really focused on building skills and experience. And I did a lot of things early days where I was like, oh, it doesn't matter if I make money out of this. Like the skill that I acquire or the experience that I develop, the network, whatever it might be, like that's going to really take me further than what the payday could, if the payday was there. And at that time, I was like, I'm just proving to myself that I'm capable. It's like when you're training for a fight, right? And you're doing your running and you're doing hours of skipping and bag work and stuff. And like half of that for me, at least back then, was just proving to myself that like when it comes fight night, because I had some decent fights, I fought 10 rounds. It was like, I need to know that when I get in the ring that I feel like I've done everything to be in this position. And I think from an early days in business, I was like, I need to put the reps in, because I come up from like an era where you have to work your fingers to the bone. That's the only way to make money. That was the mentality. It was before, YouTubers were driving Lambos and sleeping in and doing that sort of stuff, or girls were starting OnlyFans and making 100K USD a month or whatever it might be. Or maybe there was industries back then that were doing it. But the way I was raised, it was like, if you want to make money, you have to work very, very hard. And I don't wholeheartedly agree with that anymore. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I don't have the same belief as what was instilled in me as a kid. So I was just like, this is what I have to do. There's no other way to be commercially or financially successful than work myself, almost into an early grave. And that was that era for me.
So you don't believe hard work? You think you can get around it without hard work?
No, I don't. But I think that there's an element of working smart that I wasn't told as a kid, just because my upbringing was, I was raised by a concreter who was the son of a publican, and it was like late nights, early starts, working, a back-breaking job. That's how you make money. You want to make more money, work harder. That was sort of the mentality. And now my view is like to do anything of significant impact takes incredibly hard work, but it takes more than hard work. Like if you go to one of these less fortunate countries in whether it's Southeast Asia, I haven't been to Africa, but I imagine there's similar stories there where people sleep for 6 hours, they wake up and they just cart ridiculous physical loads around, whether it's on their head or their back or they're digging, and they work for 12 hours a day and then they can afford, you know, the bare necessities of life. I would have an easy argument to say that they're working harder than me right now and I'm getting paid more for my efforts. So hard work is essential, but it's not the only thing that's essential. Whereas back then I was just like, just fucking work hard, mate.
Are you glad you didn't have, like, are you glad you were raised like that though?
Oh, I wouldn't change a thing with my upbringing. Yeah. And
I was going to say.
But I have worked through a lot of things with the intention of passing on different limiting beliefs to my offspring than the ones that were passed on to me. Like I had an incredible upbringing, but it takes until, you know, real adolescence to look back and be like, fuck, my parents were incredible, but they left me with some shit too, you know, and they got passed it on by their kids and by their parents, and my kids will get passed on some shit from me, but I've done some work and continue to do some work. So hopefully I pass on more wisdom and less limiting beliefs.
I think one of the beliefs that I have been imposed is the saving thing.
Yeah.
Save your money.
Yeah.
Like, don't spend it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I see so many people out there that do not agree with that statement and they're 10 times more successful than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm assuming you are one of those people. I've seen you talk about saving all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to do what everyone talks about. I don't want to do the rent vesting stuff.
Yeah. I'm not, to be honest, mate, I was the other day, I'm like, fuck, he's going to ask me why I don't own a home. And I'm like,
I'm not going to ask that stuff. Don't go there.
Yeah. Nah, mate, hard work is definitely, it's still in me. Has to be if you want to do anything of impact.
You said the most reliable denominator in entrepreneurial success is hard work. Behind the curtain of any overnight success story is a resilient founder with an unbalanced workload and willingness to be consumed by their craft. But somewhere along the way, society's become begrudging to those who put in the work. It's so true. There are life-work balance preachers. We had the anti-hustle culture movement, and more recently we've become so hesitant to showcase our efforts. They're only willing to share that success comes later. Fuck that. If you're putting in the hard work now, I fuck with you. If you're going to work hard towards your goals, don't wait for some major milestone to recognize your efforts. Be proud of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we were talking to before of like, I took pride in those times when I was working really hard. And when I was starting out in business, I didn't have a lot to do. Like I was just really only getting started. But even on a Sunday, bang, alarm would go off. I'd be in the office. I wouldn't start till 7 on a Sunday. And I wouldn't leave until 2 p.m. if I was going to work a Sunday and didn't have much to do. But it was just like that non-negotiable of it won't come if I don't put in the effort. So even if I don't have, the phone's not ringing on a Sunday, even if I don't have a mountain of paperwork backed up because my business is massive, because it's not, I'm just getting started, but I'm like, this is what I need to do to have the impact that I want to have and build the shit that I want to build. And I took pride in that. And it never felt wasted. It never felt like, you know, my girlfriend at the time's going to a barbecue, everyone's having beers, I wish I was there. I was like, no, I need to put these hours in to get what I want to get. Even if in reality I was getting fuck all work done because I didn't have a whole lot to do. It was just that thing in me that was like, show up, put the hours in, the rest will take care of itself.
It's so true about that. So you essentially manifesting a workload that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Which it's awesome.
There's going to come a time when I'm going to try and do it the other way. Manifest more efficiencies and better team support and leveraging financial resources for, financial gain rather than like my abilities and my willingness to bring value. But back then I was like, just get in this seat, sit here and do what you can until you've got, I guess, 100-hour weeks of productive work. And then you get to a point where you start trying to be like, fuck, I need to refine it. I don't want to be doing this paperwork, or I'll delegate this, or, you know, these meetings, like people get so caught up on networking, on the coffees and lunch and, you know, do this. And it's like, now, mate, unless we've got an agenda, like we're not meeting. And I'll cancel meetings. I did one 2 weeks ago, had a meeting scheduled in and like, yeah, we need to catch up. Yeah, cool. Send me a calendar invite. Cool. It's like, hey, what are we catching up about? Oh, there's just a few things we need to go over. It's like, nah, I can't attend the meeting. Send me an email. Like, and I don't want to be a dick, but it's like when you start having priorities of time, the priorities are really needle moving business activity, like meetings with agendas or team structure or whatever it might be. Like that needs to take focus. And then that aside, you've got an 18-month boy, 18-month-old boy at home who you didn't see this morning because you're up early before he left, and you didn't see last night because you had some shit you had to take care of in the office. And it's like, I'm not coming into a meeting if you can't tell me what we're talking about. I'm going to go hang with my kid, or I'm going to do some shit now so I can go home later and see my wife. So I think the priorities are drastically different to what they were, 15 years ago in those early days.
You're making me grateful you're sitting here right now, mate.
This is important, mate. This is, and this isn't commercially important, but this is like, we had this conversation 18 months ago and we booked it in, and then something come up and it had to take priority. And I said, we will do it. It's just a matter of time. And like now with the time of the year, for me, I'm in the position where there's a few big things that we're working on, but like I'm not filling my plate with, less than super important meetings. And that allows me time to come and do something that, for me, this isn't part of my work day. This is like, sorry guys, I'm stepping out. I'm going to do fucking something for myself. And like I said yesterday, for me, podcast, yeah, cool, content maybe, but like if nothing else, I just want to catch up, talk a bit of shit.
I saw the video of you coming home you coming home and Romeo like crawling up. I'm assuming he walks now, but he was crawling up and he was just like so happy.
Yeah.
And I see that and I'm like I want that.
Yeah.
I want that, but it's, you talk about the season where it's like, but then I think you've talked about how it's changed your motivation as well. Like a lot of people would have assumed that having the kid would have made you different, but it's done the opposite for you. It's made you more.
Without a doubt, yeah. And it didn't take for him to arrive for that to happen. It took like, once I was like, he's coming. And that was either when Jesse and I started planning to have a baby, or it might have been after he was conceived. And I was like, fuck, there's a little human coming now. And it just like lit something in me. And it's happened to our mates too. I think it's a very primal thing that happens to blokes, is like when you've got that offspring coming, it's like, fuck, I really need to be focused now. And that was when I went on this like deep dive of time efficiency. It's like, from things of catching up with mates that you're in the room and you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? Taking meetings that have no agenda, doing tasks within your business that you don't really enjoy, and there's somebody else who can do them, to nearly the same level or sometimes even better. Cooking, cleaning, housework, driving. It's like, time that I'm wasting now is taking away from like some really valuable moments that I could be spending with my kid. Like really opened my eyes to that before he even arrived. Lucky I like him. If I'd freed up all this time and he came around and he was a little jerk, then I would be like, fuck, what am I going to do now? But lucky he's all right.
How important do you think anyone that's going through something that's like takes a lot of time, how important do you think, or do you place any importance on the word balance? Because it's funny. Yeah, it's funny, but I have so many people in my life that say I should be doing this, I should be doing that. The kick of me for the footy is like as social as it gets these days.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't go to parties. I had a big family catch up the other day. Didn't have anything on, but it's like my closest family.
Yeah.
I was working though.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday.
Yeah.
Like 4 p.m. I could have gone.
Yeah.
I said I had stuff on. Hopefully they don't listen to this, but
I
had stuff on.
What did you have on? Well, you were working. I mean,
working,
that's stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I think it's a matter of priorities, and for yourself, you have to be able to accept those priorities for what they are. And like on Sunday, your priority was your work over your family. And And like you say that out loud and you're like, fuck. Like, and it's like,
I don't feel
it's not
bad
that
saying
deep.
No.
You're trying to build an impact for whatever reason, for your self-worth, for your future generation, for your future wife, to give money away to chat, whatever it is, that in that moment took priority over catching up with your family and hearing what Auntie such and such has done or whatever it might be. And that's, you got to make peace with that. But you just can't expect everybody else to make peace with it because you won't get it. You can't call your mum and say, Mum, I'm going to do a little bit of work. I'm not coming. She'd be like, what? Why would you choose work over me, honey? Like, you know, like you just can't expect people to, because we all prioritize different things to different degrees, and it's just a matter of priorities. And that becomes the balance.
Yeah. I'm going to my beach house.
YouTube has been good to you.
YouTube. I'm going to my beach for my mum's. So it's a yearly tradition that I go since I was young. Since I was probably 12, we go to my beach house for my mum's birthday.
Yeah.
And it's the week of January 8th. So it's like sort of like the start of the year, you know, good place, a good time to get away. She called me the other day and she goes, are you coming down? I said, yeah. And she's already like, you can't work while you're there.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to separate stay clad. And I'm like, it's fucking hard, Mum. It's hard. It's like it's not
hard, but you don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's that's the reality.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. And when she says you can't work, that's just, you know, that's just a belief that she has, and that's fine, and she can hold that belief. But like, because I had it all the same, and to some degree, I still do. It gets easier when you start getting.
You still do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, you got to spend more time with your family. You know, you can't be doing this, you're doing that. But as you get some, I guess, public success, not public, but as when your family starts seeing some success, it becomes a little bit easier. They start thinking, oh, you know, maybe he does know what he's doing a little bit. But I remember you can't work so hard. You got to spend more time doing this. And that's their perception. And from their belief, they might be right. You can't work this hard and maintain healthy cortisol levels, or you can't work this hard and get 8 hours. It's like, yeah, that's all true. But right now my priority is working this hard and not getting 8 hours sleep or whatever it might be.
What was driving you during those days? Because it sort of is I mean, in this day and age, if a 16 or whatever 18-year-old was telling me that they were doing what you were doing, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think back in your day, that wasn't as common. Would you agree with that?
So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. I didn't have many friends in this. I had friends that were working hard, a few of them. Now I've connected with guys that were, like my friends now, they were all doing, at the same age, they were all doing what I was doing.
I think what I'm trying to say is that it's so, if someone's doing something right now, they're posting about it.
Yeah.
So you can see it.
Yeah.
You know, whereas back then, perhaps that's why I'm thinking that way.
I think,
because
I
didn't see what you were doing back then.
Yeah.
No one did.
Yeah. And it wasn't glorified.
Yeah.
Because it was just too hard to connect with people. Like social media makes it so easy to connect with the right people. The algorithm, you know, it puts you in front of the people that love you, and it also puts you in front of the people that hate you. But like, it's easy to connect with those people that are going to be like, fuck yeah, this guy's going hard. I'll fuck with that. Whereas like before that, when I was working hard, it was only the people immediately around me that were there to either support or judge. And the people that are immediately around you don't benefit from you working so hard when you're working so hard. Maybe they'll benefit from it from down the track, but when you're taking time away from your family, it's your family that's been like, they feel like they're dealt the short straw. They just want to spend time with you, mate, and you're off, you know, locked away in your little hustle cave here doing what you're doing. So it's easy for them to feel like nobody else is on that same path. But you look back at guys like, you know, Elon Musk, he's still doing it, mate. He's one of the richest men in the world. And I saw an interview of him the other day talking about like renewable energy and making power affordable. And the journalist was rattling off some stats of how unaffordable power is in Australia. And the bloke nearly teared up and he just said, we need to work harder. And it's like somebody like that in that position saying like, I need to do more. you can't rely on the acceptance of your efforts to some stranger.
I think what you said before about the hustle thing here, I think I need to like get somewhere else that I work. I remember you talking about
Yeah.
having like another place that you go.
Yeah.
I think the fact that I work or I sleep
Yeah.
has become somewhat, because I'm just, it's so easy for me on a Sunday, because that's my day off training and stuff. I just get up and just start working straight away.
Yeah.
Like it's 1 meter away,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good for sustainability and all that sort of stuff, but
Oh man, I'm a massive advocate for having a separate workspace. I've just never been able to work. I mean, work from home wasn't a thing when I was coming up. It was have an office very close to home, so you're not wasting hours in that transit time. But it was like you finish up, go home, and like sleep, recover, chill out, whatever it might be. It's definitely harder to do. From what I hear, if you're working from home, I've just never really given it a shot.
It's just a figuring things out thing for me at the moment.
Yeah.
What would you say to this kid?
Get a haircut would be the first thing I say.
Mate, you wearing
maybe eat something, eat some steak.
You were vegan? Were you vegan back then?
Nah, I wasn't back then. Nah, not at all.
There was a period you said you were vegan.
3 years, mate. Yeah. I actually I was talking about that yesterday. Yeah. I went out for breakfast, had eggs, bacon, chicken breast. Went home. It was like just before Christmas. I think it might have been between Christmas and New Year's. And Jesse and I watched a documentary, and I finished watching it. It was just like, babe, I don't think I can eat meat again. And I just was too shaken up by the industry. And I think we were, and she was the same, Jesse, and we were vegan for 3 years. And then it was when we started talking about having kids and the priority of like optimal health for reproduction. And it was like, you can't be at optimal levels of health. Hopefully there's no vegans in the comments that challenge me on that. But for me, couldn't get my B12 levels to where they needed to be without eating meat. So that was the transition back. And then the transition back became like, well, I only want to eat grass-fed steak because I don't want, cows locked in barns and, free-range chicken and all that sort of shit. And just got to come to peace with it, mate.
I remember I stalked your wife as well, no offense. She was saying she was like really into the grass-fed organic.
Oh, mate, she is now.
Really?
Like Romeo's an organic baby. He eats shit that I wouldn't even eat. He like loves anchovies and sardines, like just bites their, head off sort of thing. And everything he eats has liver, like ground liver put into it, and grass-fed, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, all organic veggies.
He's going to be a cool kid, I reckon.
See.
Do you reflect much on your journey?
In moments, I've never made a practice of looking back, but occasionally I'll pull out an old diary or something like that. Like I'll have a stack of diaries and I'll be like, 2015, like what was I doing? Or like I'll look back on old goals. Recently looked like at a goal, I think it might have been 2016. It was like to have a net worth of $1 million or something like that. And I was like, fuck, looking back. And it might have been 1.5 mil annual revenue across my businesses. And that is like a really cool way that I do it. But beyond that, I don't really delve too far into it.
You seem to be, I've noticed over the journey, your emphasis on goal setting is like really like it's really important. It's that you've made it a focus.
Yeah, and I think it's because of focus. I think like where you put your attention, you'll have progression, but maybe even more in today's world than 20, 30 years ago, attention is being grabbed from every angle. And like it's social media, but it's not just social media. It's maybe because of what you're visible to on social media. It could be new industries or, the way markets change so quickly now, opportunities emerge and disappear so quickly. To keep your attention in the right area, goal setting is a real pragmatic way for me to do that.
How do you do that now?
I don't set more than 5-year goals now. I used to do 10, but I've just learned that I can't conceptualize what needs to happen to get to where I want to be in 10 years. So I'll just set a goal and then I'll break it down into a more deconstructed goal, and then I'll build a timeline of smaller goals beneath that. So it starts with a goal of, I want $100 million worth of property. All right, what does that look like? Right now I'm here, so I need to develop 3 sites. I need to hold this amount of stock. All right, so further break that down. In Q1 next year, I need to buy a site. In Q2, I need to launch a site. In Q3, I need to buy another site. And that becomes a chronological ordered sequence of goals.
I remember you got asked, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? And you said that. You said, I daydream, but I don't do 10-year visions goals anymore. Life is moving too quickly, and any vision I have for myself in 10 years would be too limited by my current skills, belief, and identity. I don't want to put those limitations on myself. It's powerful.
Yeah, it is. And like when I look back now, 10 years ago, it really sort of illustrates that. Because I just couldn't, with the understanding that I had back then, with the experience that I had, trying to conceptualize what a day would look like now, I just couldn't visualize it. Save for the flashy shit. I want to be in a jet. Yeah, cool. All right, how are you going to pay $400,000 a year to maintain a jet? Fuck me, I don't know. How does anyone do that? You just don't have the mechanics to understand it. And with goal setting, I think it's important to understand the mechanics. With vision and dreaming and all that sort of stuff, yeah, cool. You want to put a man on the moon. Man on the moon is probably the wrong analogy. A man on Mars. I have no fucking idea how to do that, so I shouldn't set that as a goal. But 3 to 5 years, the goals I want to achieve within that timeline, I can pragmatically break down into almost actionable steps. And then it just becomes a matter of, is the opportunity there? Hopefully. And when the opportunity comes, what do I need to do to capitalize on it? Do I have the skills? If I lack skills, then I can upskill. And it becomes a very practical, step-by-step approach. Yeah.
I think there's an issue that I have at the moment is that I've set goals that the version of me 5 months ago probably would have chewed your ear off about 5 months ago, if that makes sense. Like I would have sat here and just talked about all the good stuff that I'm doing. But the fact that it's happened, and it's happened relatively quickly, has made me feel as though, whether it's a worthiness thing, I'm not sure what it is, but it hasn't made me feel good about the things that have happened. Does that make sense? And then you get to, if I told you the things that I would have done since June and now, since quitting, I would have been absolutely ecstatic. But I'm sitting here right now and I'm like, fuck, I've just opened up the door to what's possible.
Yeah. And that will never change, I don't think.
Yeah, okay.
Except for in those fleeting moments of gratitude. Because what you wanted back then was an ambitious attempt. Now that you've done it, it's just a walk in the park. So it's like you don't feel as, I'm probably speaking more for myself, but
don't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a massive accomplishment because you can do it. So it's like, that's part of, you have to enjoy the process, because when you're in it and you're achieving those things, or when you're on the cusp of achieving them, they feel so much more powerful and invigorating than they do when it's become something that you've done now. And that's just fucking life, mate. That's first time you bench 2 plates. Fuck, it's wild. Once you can do it, it's like,
Been a while since I've done that. So you said
I just wanted to let everybody know that I can bench 2
really?
plates.
What was you said something in another podcast about your best. Someone asked you what your best bench press was. You said 150 kilos or something.
Nah, 130, mate.
130.
I'm skinny. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You said there's nothing more satisfying than being reminded of personal growth, and for me, this often happens when overcoming a challenge that would have crippled a past version of me. I love looking back on times when I was horrified of taking on things that I do now with ease. Has that been something you've noticed? And I'm assuming there's just a multitude of things that happen these days that the previous version of you would have just absolutely folded on.
Yeah.
Is there anything happened recently that is an example of that you're comfortable sharing?
There's nothing I'm not comfortable sharing. I think just direct conversations is probably an overarching one that took me a long time to build to, just by nature.
In what sense?
I'd just avoid direct conversations if I could.
Okay.
And to the point where I'd be like, there's money at stake. And I'd be like, it's not that much money.
Yeah.
And it's like now I'll do the right thing. And like, doesn't matter how direct the conversation is, doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1 million. I'm like, I will do what I think is the right thing, regardless of how direct the conversation needs to be. And the direct conversation could be saying, listen, mate, I love coffee as much as the next bloke, but I just haven't got time to sit down and have a meeting that doesn't have an agenda. Could be that. Could be Instagram messages of people that want to catch up, and I have to tell them that, again, I love coffee, but I'm keeping all spare time for friends and family. I would have avoided that, years ago. I probably would have just fucking not opened the message, or the other side of that is $1 million negotiations when you want to buy something for 15 million and you get to the end of your due diligence and it's like the site's worth 13.5 because of XYZ, and having those direct conversations is something that I really struggled with for a long time, and now just it doesn't bother me at all.
What do you do after that one? You put the 11 on the table and just walked out?
Yeah. It's that was a lot harder to do back then than what it would be today for me personally. Yeah.
So I'm assuming the old version of you wouldn't have cancelled the podcast back in the day.
Yeah, exactly right.
You would have just rocked up.
Oh, mate, I would have shocked, and I would have been like, head would have been somewhere else, phone wouldn't have been on Do Not Disturb, and it would have been a shitter experience for everyone. So it's a very positive, I guess, personal development that I've developed, but it's too eager to please people that I ended up fucking letting everyone down, really.
I remember that happened when you pulled out or whatever, and I remember telling my colleagues at the time, I was like, I respect the hell out of this guy seriously, because he's done what he's done, and he's like, it just hadn't happened to me with other podcasts before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like most people, I just never had anyone say that they're focusing on work right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I remember you going on an absolute run, and I remember even you reposted a story that your wife shared of you like working super late at night, and it was a caption or something, I forget what it was. But it was like she's like there supporting, and she's like helping you through whatever it is when you're going through that phase.
Yeah.
She was there in the background saying how proud she was of you or something that. Yeah.
Yeah. And she always has, which is really cool too. Like it's really cool that we got together before I had any material success, and she got to see that side of like when we were dating, I would show up at her mum's house at 9:30 because I'd been at work, and we would hang out, and I'd sleep for 4 hours at 4 o'clock. My alarm would go off, I'd go again, and then I'd be, come see her the next night at 9:30 or whatever. So she really got to, or we'd be hanging out on a Sunday and the phone would ring, and I'd be like, being there for half an hour, just about to probably do what you do when you've just started seeing a bird. And I'm like, hey, I gotta go handle this. And I remember at the time I remember in that moment she said to me, she texted me after, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry that because I felt like I'd stood her up. We only just started seeing each other. And she said to me, she's like, don't worry, my brother works for himself, so I know what it takes. And I hadn't met her brother at that time, and now her brother is one of my best mates. And like we're in business together, and we support each other through businesses that we're not in together. And it's such a cool retrospective moment to be like, that guy that sort of like, he paved the way for me, didn't even know him, and now he's one of my best mates. I'm like, it's a pretty cool turn of events.
What do you say to people that think you've got it all sorted? Because there was a part of me that I had the feeling, but I was going to ask that because I knew that you probably wouldn't think that. And I asked that because I remember you saying, someone said to me the other day that everything I touch turns to gold.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the other day, but I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I mean, it's just not true, mate. I don't know. Like I was saying before, the sooner you can realize that everybody puts their jeans on one leg at a time in the morning, the sooner you realize that I'm no different to the next guy, and Elon's no different to me. And it's just, everybody's dealing with their own battles. They're just different, and they come in waves, and sometimes people have a fantastic run, and then sometimes things come up, and sometimes we get a whole heap of little challenges that really bring us down, and then sometimes something substantial happens and it really opens our eyes to how minuscule the shit is that was stressing us. Like a health scare is usually the one that you can be stressed and fuck, this isn't going to plan. I want to be doing that, or like everything's falling apart. Then you have a health scare and you're like, none of this shit matters at all. And I think that was something that really opened my eyes about when Romeo arrived, is like it really just put into perspective. Like when you have a scare with your kid, it just sort of resets your tolerance for like stress. And it's like this $3 million over here last week was like, this is going to ruin my life. Now, like, don't call me about it. I'm dealing with my stuff with my kid. Like, so
is he sick?
We thought he was. He wasn't. When he was born the first week, he had a he had a very low heart rate, and there was all these, might be sudden death this week. Could be like, it was fucking scary, and it ended up being like nothing. It's just fucking
a story to tell.
Yeah, exactly right. Just a story to tell. But it really, like, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but it really put things in perspective to me, and it was something that didn't go away. It wasn't like after that week my little things started coming up and they were getting on my nerves again. It was just sort of really raised my levels of, I guess, resilience to things that are happening, or just perspective. Like, you lose a deal. It used to be, oh, fuck, I needed that deal. Settlement was supposed to happen here. Now money there. Now it's just like, mate, this is just the game I play. Like, this is just a bit of fun that I have. Like, everything that matters is at home, safe, with a regular heartbeat. So it takes a lot of pressure off.
I was going to ask, what does it take to get you ruffled now?
In business?
Yeah, I was going to say in business. But then you said that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't sound like there'd be much in business. Oh, obviously, there's stuff that everyone deals with, like you said. But
yeah, there's probably two things that ruffle me. One is when somebody misunderstands me in business. I hate it. I don't know why. It's something that I've like tried to work with, but I really, like, if something happens, if we're doing some sort of business deal and for some reason you think that I've tried to fuck you, or I've made a decision that I didn't make, or I've had an intention that I didn't make, for some reason that really eats me. Like, I should just forget about it. But I'm like, I'll try and convince you, or I'll try and do something too much. That sort of ruffles my feathers. And then outside of that, if I do something where I knew I could have done better, that fucks me too. Like, if I lose a deal because if I'm negotiating on a site, some other developer comes along and he'll pay 10% more than me because he's happy with a high level of risk, or he's going to build a cheaper product or whatever, I'm like, so be it, mate. Done. But if I try negotiation strategy, or if I take a shortcut on my DD or something like that and I lose the deal, then I'm like, oh, it sits with me for a few days.
Has that happened much recently?
It's happened recently. Has it happened much? Yeah, I think so. I think because I've probably spent a little bit of time in self-reflection, and that's when you see, like, I could have done this better. And particularly at this point of the year now, because I'm starting to like wind down a little bit, free up some space, I'm freeing up some headspace because I'm focused on my health. Sleep is like a real low-hanging fruit for me to benefit my health. So I'm making time, like, before I'm sleeping, I'm getting a lot of thinking space, and I'm starting to reflect on shit. I'm like, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. So those sort of the ones that stick.
Do you sleep well?
No, mate, I don't. Not right now. Yeah, not right now. Like, I've just...
Too much on the mind?
No, not even that. Because I'm trying to sleep more. It's this weird paradox of, like, I would sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, and because I was so tired, when my head hit the pillow, I'd be fucking out. And my alarm would go off, and I'd be fucking, I'd get up, start my day, and then the next night, head hits the pillow, I'm out. Now I'm trying to get like 7.5 hours sleep a night. I've sort of like paid off some of that sleep debt, and now I lay in bed and I'm like not as tired as what I'm used to being. So, but I'm working on it, mate. It'll get better.
I remember you saying that you wake up with a fear of, you used to, the biggest thing that you were thinking about was the regret of not being better the next year.
That is still like that's still,
and then you said something about what you just said before about the fear of something that sparked that thought.
Yeah, so something that I've still got a bit of work to do, and if anybody's ever worked through this and wants to give me some tips, I would 100% welcome it, because it's been a challenge for me.
Not me.
Is I get so focused on progression that subconsciously I'll limit my immediate progress to remove the fear of the raised benchmark that I have to surpass next year, which is fucking ridiculous. It's like an opportunity comes up to hit a home run and, you know, make whatever I'm trying to make or build whatever I'm trying to build. And I'm like, I go hard and then I have this fear pop up. There's like, how the fuck am I going to top this? And it almost becomes a like, I'm here now. I could go to here, but what would be safer is to just go to here. So then whether it's next week, next month, next year, next decade, I can more comfortably continue progressing. And it's something that I've really got to like be mindful of, or it really gets in my way.
How do you see yourself working through that?
Probably professional help, mate. I'll probably look to find a mindset coach that's dealt with something like that. And like, because a lot of these things, there's a lot of people in the world that have come before us and what you're going through, the chances are someone's gone through a very similar version of thought, circumstances, events, whatever it might be. So I'll probably try and find some. I'm sure there's something deep. It'll be something that happened, you know, people throw around the term childhood trauma a lot. Like it could be some fucking little thing that happened in a year 3 running race or I don't know. And I just got to try and unpack some stuff. But I'm focused, so I'm sure I'll be able to get by it.
Yeah, I get that feeling sometimes. I'm like, why am I like who I am?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, the thought's always there. And it's like, do you even want to find out? Do you want to know why you are like you are? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't care so much, but sometimes that's what it takes to undo. Yeah, to undo the damage that's been done. And like just the mindset stuff that I've done, or a lot of it has to do with like inner child and stuff that's happened to you at a young age. And it's like unpacking those memories that really help you sort of release the hold they have on you, remove the limiting belief and allow you to move forward. So
I remember you talking about limiting belief with Romeo.
Yeah.
So you don't want him to have, how are you raising him?
I mean, I did a lot of work when we were, not when we were trying to have kids, but when we were like, this is when we're going to have kids. And I was like, fuck, I want to really do a hard push. Health was a big part of it, but then mindset was another big part of it. So I've had mindset coaches, plenty of them before, but went on a real hard push leading up to him. And I had that motivation of like, mate, anything that you can get out of your genetic makeup right now, from a mental point of view, that he was a strong motivation to do that. How am I raising him now? With focus, but without stress. Like I'm trying to pass on the wisdom I can and not pass on the shit that I've got to deal with. But I also don't want to over psychoanalyze it where I'm, too scared to open my mouth, too scared to tell him the mischief I got up to as a teenager or anything like that. I sort of want to let it play its course, but I just feel like the better version of myself I can be and the work I can do to improve that, the rest will sort of take care of itself. As long as I'm giving him the time and space for me to imprint my character on him and that sort of stuff, I think the rest, he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah. And his mum's a fucking...
Yeah.
She's one of the best mates, so
Really?
raised by her as well. He'll be fine. Yeah.
I remember you said when Jessie and I first started hanging out 8 months ago, I'd pick her up in my 15-year-old car. Was that the Volkswagen?
No, that Volkswagen was like 20 years old.
Really?
After that, I had a 2001 Audi A4.
I was going to say it's not that one, is it? That's not.
Nah, that was the one before it.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a sick car.
It looks nice.
It had a lot of character.
You said I was working 14-hour days in a company I saw no future with and would mostly stay at her mum's house because my room wasn't as nice as hers. I told Jessie how I was planning to take over the world. However, it wouldn't be long before I was driving a flashy car, eating out every day, living by beach in a nice big house, and working on only things I was passionate about. If you can visualize the future that you want, the rest can almost seamlessly fall into place with the right vision, the right mindset. Execution becomes simple day-to-day tasks. But the coolest part of this post is that I wasn't able to predict my future. The coolest part is that Jessie Williams, it's not her name now, but that's what it was back then, believed me when I told her about it.
Yeah.
It's cool, man.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's not a lot slows me down like that, but
What do you mean?
just like, I don't know, that's something that it's either Jessie or Romeo. Like that's what it takes to really sort of sink me into my emotions. And I'm a very warm, approachable sort of guy, but I'm not a super emotional sort of guy until it comes to Jessie and Romeo. And I think it's like one of the coolest parts of my life is like what I've built with Jessie. And it could have gone another way so easily in so many different elements. I could have had success before I met her, and that could have changed the dynamics of our relationship. The night we met was only a few months after I'd come out of a long relationship, and like if we didn't lose each other in the crowd at the bar we met at, then our history would have been very different because I was in a different frame of mind at that point in my life. And just how we connected, when we connected, all came together. And then even like she built a monster business of her own. Like a very lucrative business. Like she was making 7 figures a year.
Yeah.
Very focused, but still being able to walk the dog, sleep in, do that sort of stuff. And she sacrificed a lot in the early days for our relationship. And then she built her own thing. And then she just sacrificed that completely to be the best mum and wife she could be. And like, I just think that's, particularly in today's day and age, for me, I'm like, fuck, there's nothing more inspiring than that. And everybody has their different views, right? And there's like, women in business is like super empowering, and like, I love that. And for Jessie, like when she was in business, I was like, babe, this is hot. Like she's like, oh, I made 150 grand this month. I'm like, that is fucking cool, But it wasn't as cool as her just being able to say like, hey, I don't want to do business right now. I want to shut everything down. I just want to be completely present with Romeo and spend this time with him and make sure you feel supported, because I'm going hard. And if I'm going hard and I'm coming home at night and her mind is in her business, like it's a different dynamic. But now the dynamic we have is like, it's a very traditional relationship. And it hasn't always been like that. And whether she was raised like that or not sort of is another story. But we come from a very progressive relationship and we fell back into this very traditional, without force of any kind too. Because I wasn't like, babe, shut your business and be a mum. I was like, making 150 grand a month, I'm not going to fucking tell you to stop doing that. But it was pretty cool to see her commitment to our family unit over and above being able to buy herself, a couple of nice handbags and a cardio bracelet every month.
I remember her saying that, she was struggling with Romeo being around, but like being on a computer while he was around.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't think, or perhaps the generation that, I didn't go through a generation where my dad was like on tech all the time and my mum was on laptops all the time. I grew up and went through a period where there was no technology, but you can't quantify what a parent being on their laptop and phone constantly around their kid would do to them in the long term.
Not right now, but maybe in 10 years
100%.
we will be able to.
Yeah.
And what that looks like, I don't want to speculate on, don't want to cast judgment on people that are in that position because everybody has different circumstances, right? Like, and I'm sure a lot of people will be like, yeah, Jessie shut down her business to be a mum, but not everybody is in a household where they are financially capable of doing that. And Jessie has nothing but gratitude for the position that we're in, that she can do that. But for me, I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Like, and I probably could have, she was earning 7 figures a year. That's enough household income to live a relatively comfortable life. I could have been a stay-at-home dad. Not a fucking chance in my mind, but like in reality, that's circumstances that could have happened. But she's just so focused on like being the best parent that she can be, as am I. But her commitment to it is like, from like Romeo has no screen time. He like I said, he's all organic. He's just by her side every step of the way. She's like always doing developmental play and all this sort of stuff. And it's for me, I'm like, there's nothing more attractive for me than her sacrifice to our family. And she says the same, but our sacrifice is different, which I think is really cool.
I saw she did a post the other day that it was still a struggle though to like be in that environment, I guess, where she's not making money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, especially because she was making money and so much money, you know, shutting down, getting paid $100,000 a year or something from working your 9 to 5. Yeah. Right. Cool. But like she was having every success of running her own business. Like financially, she was doing really well. She had a team to report to and engage with. She was getting public accolades and all that sort of stuff. To just put that to the side, to be like in my view, like the sacrifice was massive. So that's something that she's will have to work through, like what that looks like with her and the battles of not having that. And like, that's something that we work through together as well. And then for me, my battle is like, what time do I leave the office to come home and see Romeo? I'm financially comfortable, but Romeo's kids might not be if I don't go a little bit hard. Like it's that continuous juggle, I guess.
I can see why that gets you. Like knowing what she went through. Yeah. What she sacrificed for you and her as well, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like no one more for herself than for me, I guess. But for our family unit, like, and I get to see it all the time. Like I come home and I see Romeo and he's like, you know, 9 months old running around. I'm like, what the fuck? How? And I'm like, oh, it's because like everything he's done up to this date or how he's talking. Or I'm like, you know, when you asked how am I going to raise Romeo, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to sound like a dick, but like his mum's doing the heavy lifting, which for me, there's no better person in the world to raise him than her. She's pretty solid. I don't think that sounds... I just think that's just how it is. Yeah, it is. It's one of those things. It can come with some judgment, but but you got to block that out and do what's right. Here, mate. Yeah, exactly right. Was that the early days? Yeah, that was. That wouldn't be the first photo, but that was definitely, I reckon, first 12 months. Yeah. Pretty cool to look back on. I saw the I went way too far in her profile, man. I went far in yours, but not her. I shouldn't have gone so far in hers. But I saw the video of your engagement. Oh yeah. Dude, that was sick. Yeah, that was really cool. That was very was very lucky. So must have been 6 months earlier, I spoke to her dad and just said, like, I'm going to ask her to marry me. I don't know when, but I'm going to do it. I just want to make sure you're sweet with it. And then I asked her brother, because her brother and I are such close friends. I was like, bro, I don't want to, make your sister take my last name if you're not cool with it. And it was cool, obviously. Oh, man, of course. Couldn't be happier. Yeah. And then I said, I want to do it where it's like completely unexpected. I don't want this like we're going on holidays or we're going here and there can be this. I want it to be like she cannot anticipate this coming. I'm like, so if she starts planning some sort of surprise for me, for anything, you need to let me know. And about 6 months later, it was coming up to my 30th birthday and she had started organising a surprise for my birthday. So he told me and then... What did he say when he told you? He's like, oh, remember we had this conversation? And I'm like, bro, spit it out. Like, you're not ruining, like this is a moment worth ruining the surprise over. Yeah. And he's like, oh, for your 30th, Jesse. I'm like, sick. So I had like an event planner and then I had all my boys like choreographing everything behind the scenes. And she had booked out a room, or she was booking out a venue. And I said to the boys, I'm like, we want better than that. This is a big moment. Yeah. And I'm like, tell her that you guys are going to pay for it. So they're like, oh, we're going to get this sick room. And she's like, fuck, Oscar's friends are really helping out here. And I was sorting everything in the background. Yeah. So she'd got this room and filled it with like all our friends, or all my friends. And then she'd put like happy birthday and balloons and all this sort of stuff. And the whole thing was going to be a surprise. but I had derailed it obviously. So she'd organised all my friends to be there, and then I organised her closest friends to be there, and had all the balloons swapped out and everything, all the messaging swapped out from a birthday theme to an engagement theme. So she had come up with some story that we had to go up to this room. We were just going for dinner for my birthday, and then she'd come up with this story. Oh, we've got to go up this room. I'm like, oh, that's a bit weird, babe, but whatever. And then she opened the door expecting to turn to me to see my surprise. She opened the door and it had like marry me and all the stuff like that, and all our friends in the background. And it was really cool because, one, she had no fucking idea. She thought it was cool that I had like foregone my 30th birthday celebrations to make it a memory for us. And it was also cool that our friends got to be involved because my friends didn't know. They thought it was a surprise, like for my birthday. So when that was like, oh, hey, you got to get there before this time because it's Oscar's surprise, they all like come into the room and were like, the fuck is going on here? And then everyone's like, oh, it's actually like, everyone was like, whoa, this is like really cool. So it was a cool memory for everyone.
It's powerful, man.
Yeah. It was one that like it worked out pretty well. And to be honest, I got to have a bit of fun too, because when Jessie and her brother Troy were talking, Jessie thought she was colluding with Troy about my birthday. So they would be talking about something in front of me. Oh, maybe we go for dinner or something like that. And because I knew, and because Troy knew I knew, I got to fuck with Troy. And I was like, oh, guys, I don't know if I could be fucked going out for dinner. And Troy's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're self-sabotaging your own thing. But I knew they had to push back, and it made him squirm, which was like, that was an extra highlight for me.
Powerful. Well, yeah, that what has come from that relationship as well is just, what you talked about with all this stuff as well. It's incredible. Yeah,
we're doing, millions of dollars a month in business together, and just having a lot of fun and growing together too. Like, he's the first one to not put limitations on for us what's going to happen in 12 months' time. Like, an opportunity will come and I'll be like, man, this is a big opportunity. And he's like, yeah, it's a big opportunity now. He's like, but in 12 months, do you think it'll be such a big opportunity? And like, we've taken opportunities together thinking they're like the tits. And then 12 months later, we're like, fuck, should we like be reconsidering this? Just because expectations, opportunity, everything has lifted so quickly. So he's a massive one for that.
I remember you were talking about that sort of stuff in your podcast. With him. Yeah, he was saying something along those lines.
Yeah.
He was like, when you hit a KPI or something, he was just like, how do we get to the next one?
Yeah. And it's been really cool because we've come up, like we come from the same area of Melbourne. We come from very similar like upbringings, and we've come on similar trajectories. Like, and we've had those moments of like, I remember standing in his mum's hallway, like remember him showing me Instagram and being like, he had 3,000 followers, and he's like, when you get to 10,000, you can put a link on your story and I can link people to eye candy and shit like that. And like, look back on that now where he's got like, one of the strongest audiences in Australia, and he's been able to leverage his brand to do, such cool things, the way, what he's doing commercially, the house that he lives in, like the cars that he has, like it's cool to see how quickly or how aligned we've come up. So it's something we can share.
The work will take care of you. I heard someone say that the other day.
What's that?
The work will take care of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully I can look back on that in a few years. And
you will, mate. Without it, there's no other way. You do the work, it'll happen. Yeah, you just got to trust.
I've had that realization a few days ago. I was just sitting there after seeing that story with Stephen, and I'm like, I'm barely scraping the surface.
Yeah, I have those moments too where somebody pops in front of you and you're just like, fuck. And that's the superficial or the very high level motivation that I referenced before, can be very powerful. But conversely to that, you also have to have that reality check of like, Elon Musk is whatever he is, 50 odd years of age, worth billions of dollars, changing the world, but he's got fucking 6 ex-wives, 9 kids, whatever. Like there's parts of his life that I wouldn't envy, and that becomes the reality check of like, I want this. What am I willing to sacrifice? Well, he's at this level. He's had to sacrifice this. Am I willing to sacrifice that? Like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. And I think that's sort of something that sort of brings me back to like, I'm doing okay.
That reminds me of what you said when you posted about the Springvale Business Park. You said, I won't read out the whole thing, but at the end of it, you said an incredible life is made of outstanding years. An outstanding year is made of excellent months. Excellent months are made of great weeks are made of good days. So if, like me, you can get a little overwhelmed with the bigger picture, maybe try what's worked for me. Take it one day at a time.
Bit of a wordsmith.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reps, mate. That's just fucking what's in front of you. Have focus on where you need to be in the next 3 months, 12 months, 3 years. But apart from that, all you can do is show up every day and give it a red hot crack. The rest will take care of itself.
Is there anything we haven't spoken about today you'd want to touch on?
No, mate, I'm just happy for the chats. Steak was good. Conversation's been great.
Hour 45 minutes.
Now? Huh.
I just looked, hour 45.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that went quick.
That did go quick.
That went really quick. I'm going to end it with one that resonated with me, and I obviously did a lot of homework for this. And maybe I'll ask two questions. Maybe I'll ask a question at the end after this one. But I'm going to ask this question first, actually, because I wrote it down after you. Remember how I cold called your brother back in the day before our chat? And I still had the notes from that call. So I'm going to ask that question. And I said, is there a question or something that would make him laugh that only he would know about? And I think that was the question that I had. And I wrote down in bold what he dared you to do for your 18th birthday.
Fucking hell. This was the mischief stuff that I got up to where I'm like, I don't know if I tell Rome about this sort of stuff. But it was my 18th birthday and I was incredibly intoxicated.
Yeah.
And there's the story and then there's the truth. I'll tell you the story and then the truth is way less entertaining. But I was about to be put in a cold shower because I was way too drunk. And he said, I bet you $50 you can't piss yourself. And I just was like, that is going to be the easiest $50 I ever made. So nature took its course.
Oh, boy.
And that was the first and last time I've ever pissed myself as an adult. But
Did you get your $50?
Nah, that is my brother through and through as well. I'm going to call him after this.
Yeah.
Tell him he owes me $50 with interest.
Yeah. He might laugh.
He buys a lot of property off me, so I've probably
paid it back.
Mate, I'm going to put it on the next. Nah, I'm putting it on the next deal.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't expect that one to be honest.
Nah. Oh, mate, I was a mischievous kid. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's funny because I was as well. Like I think anyone that takes a path that perhaps isn't what everyone else has done.
Yeah.
You look back on their childhood and they didn't, like they struggle. I struggled to fit in sometimes. And just because it was a bit wired differently, struggled to learn.
Yeah.
Like I said to Mum the other day, I don't think there was a maths test that I never cheated on.
Yeah.
Like I was always cheating.
Yeah.
I cheated in my fucking year 12 literature exam.
Did you get caught?
No.
Oh.
Had my phone.
Happy days.
Just like I had an essay and it was sort of similar.
Yeah. I just like, for me, I get like polarizing public input into what my upbringing was like. Like I have some people, they'll be like, private schools, trust fund, like all this sort of shit. And I'm just like, I don't even reject that. I'm like, that sounds what Romeo's going to have. Like, doesn't sound too bad to be honest, but that wasn't for me. And then the other side of it is like, partied way too much as a kid, got in a lot of fights, like was always just in the streets fighting. Got my first tattoo when I was 14 years old. Like my upbringing was just far from the polished version that people might look at me now and be like, oh, just, private school kid. So, it's interesting. But I think my 18th birthday is probably a funny reflection of what my early adolescence was like.
Everything you touch turns to gold, mate. I'm joking. Yeah, but I was going to read out a quote before, but then I saw that question up in bold and I had to...
That one had to come first. I wouldn't want to have ended on that.
No. But
fucking Henry.
Yeah, I looked at... there's water there if you want it, by the way.
Thanks.
I looked at a lot of quotes and I don't know why, I just thought this one was the one that sort of resonated with me the most. And I like to sort of end it on on a cliffhanger sometimes. So I'll read this out and then I'll let you head off to the HQ, which is not too far from here.
Yeah. 12 minutes in an Uber.
Oh, perfect. I'm happy to drive you, mate. Like I said.
That's okay.
The early years are fucking tough. Your network somehow provides more headaches than opportunities. Each business does the same. You grind through the years and not much seems to change. But if you stick with it long enough and you consistently put in the effort, you become the asset. Your insights deepen, your connections sharpen, and your intuitive ability accelerates. What begins as marginal progress becomes transformational momentum. This is powerful, man. And before you know it, your life is changing year on year. So if you're currently on the grind, if not a lot seems to be changing, keep going. I promise it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
That resonated with me heaps.
Now it feels like it was worth it.
For you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it will be for you. Yeah. There's no other way, mate. Just keep chipping away.
Good way to end it, brother. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate having me.
Of course, man. So good.
Whew. Is that what time is it?
11:20.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That is like literally a time warp.
Really?
Yeah. That did not seem that long.
That was good.